All right, people, let's start. So, good evening again. And we did our work until the very first program, right? So, we wrote the very first program in Pascal and we code it and see, right? So, today we are going to go forward from that particular point, right? So, let me share the screen first. Okay, so is there any newcomers today? Like I see someone added new to the groups, but like if there are any, just let me know because we are doing something related to the previous work that we have done, right? So people, yeah. So I want you to write down the Pascal code for the second one, for the second example, right? So even though that is done by me, but I need you to write the Pascal programming for that, right? So it's time you to start. So I'll be coding the code just after 5 minutes. It's a small code, right? So start it, right? I'll do it within 5 minutes. So for the people who have not have the question, it is there on the screen. If you find in anything hard, just let me know, right? So I can help. But I want you to try this, right? Since we have done the things in previous time. Right. So Apsara Dua, I hope
Sir,
you.
I am Binadi.
Right.
I
Okay.
am
Right. Okay, Binadi. Binadi. So we have start doing the second example, right? Coding the second example. So I want you to write the second example Pascal code on your book, right? So the question is here, and I think you got the question too. So I'll start coding by 310, right? So පුළුවන් ඉක්මනට ලියන්න මම තව විනාඩියක් වැඩිපුර දෙන්නම්. So then I'm going to code it. Seran, read ln, like it's something very, the effect is something very same as the write and write ln. So read will just read the value which is given by the user to the variable which is given within the brackets of read. Read ln does the same thing, but it moves the cursor to the next line. Read won't do anything like that. Read is just reading it and cursor won't be changed. It is in the place where it was. right? But read ln will read and move the cursor to the next line. Got it, Saran? Right, great. All right, are we done? Do you need more time to complete? Anyway, I'll give another 2 minutes since there are latecomers. Yeah, Saran, if you use write ln and read ln like together, so write ln will move the cursor one line downwards and will ask for the user input. So once we given the user input, the next line or the cursor will move like to the next line of the input. Again, අපි enter a number කියලා කිව්වම එක right ln එක කරන් ලියලා තියෙන්නේ, like you will see enter a number and cursor is at the below of that sentence. So you can give 10 so as the second line. Then if you got a read ln, then that cursor will move to the next line automatically, right? Okay, so anyone who has finished the things? I didn't get any confirmations. If you are done, just let me know. Since I didn't receive any confirmations, I'm extending time. So once you're done, just let me know. Done means like you don't need to go for the last answer if it is hard to find, right? Yeah, so one is finished. All right, two are finished. Saran, like when we calculating the average, Saran, it always like in most of the time it generates as a floating value, right? දශම ගානක් එක්ක එන්න තියෙන හැකියාව වැඩි. Like if we take integer for a variable of like to hold the average, then only the whole number part, like ඒ කියන්නේ 12 5න් බෙදන්න කියලා කිව්වොත් average එක integer දීලා තිබුණොත් එයා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට whole number part එක විතරක් indicate කරනවා. which is going to be an inaccurate output, right? So that is why we are using the real value or a data type which can hold the floating points to hold some variables like average. Right, so I'm starting the program, right? So as you know, I can start the program by writing the program keyword. Let me zoom this. I accidentally ran that. Yeah, so for program, I need a name for program, right? So I'll say program2, prog2, right? And within brackets, input, comma, output is there. And we know later it's the time for introduce the variables. So I'm taking var keyword, and if I concentrate on the flowchart or the pseudocode, we need number 1, we need number 2. So those are some things which is given by the user, given by the user. Then those two numbers will be added up together and assigned into the total. So total is going to be another variable, right? So at the face of it, we can see only 3 variables, which is num1, num2, colon, I'm saying integer, and yeah, even I can take total as the integer. So I'm putting it right over here. Right, so inside the begin and end, now we have to write the code, which is very simple, right? So I'm saying write ln right? So first name taken, and I'm going to read ln, and I'm saying read it to num1. So the very same way, we can say enter second name, and I'm reading the user value that is given to num2. So then the processing part, which is easy. Total colon equals, right? Why we use colon equals? Because it is the assignment operator, right? Not to the one we are learning it like for us, right? So total colon equals, I'm saying num1 plus num2, right? So we are almost done. So before we go, we have to display the total. So that particular thing has something called display total. So how we are going to display it? You are going to use a write ln, right? And we can say we can say to have the total variable here, right? So it's going to be the code, and I already got a problem. Semicolon identify, writer and found. Okay, yeah, right over here. The semicolon එක නැති නිසා මෙතන. Right, so I'm saving it. There it goes. Enter first name. So I'm given 10, and then I'm going to give 40. So my final answer should be 50, but it's not staying neither. So we need a readln. So let's run it and run it again and see. Okay, so I'm entering 10, then 40. Total is 50. That is what we are going to have, right? Let me change the size. All right, so it's going to happen like this. Okay, so people who have the mistakes, it's better you get it ready down, right? And the rest you can go with the third example or the second exercise we did. Right, so it's the same program, only one step is changed. Yeah, I'm going to code the program by 326. Let me know if you done before the time I told you, right?
So for like when you're doing a Pascal program, so is there a use of displaying total when you're displaying average?
Minol, come again. It's not clear.
If you're like programming in Pascal, is there a use of displaying like total and both average when you when you want to find the average?
Hold on. Now you are saying like we find both total and average, and the user is going to display both total and average. And like in your requirement, you don't need to show the total, but the average. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So see, so it's only the right element, right? So you get rid of the right element which shows the total. So you only go with the average. That's all. So it's the right element is the one who is responsible to show things on the monitor. So we just write a single right ln to show only the average. That's all. Got it, Minul? Is that the answer that you want? Like that means like is it the answer that for your question?
Yeah.
Right, right. Ah, yeah. Onetra, I will look into that too. Ah, yes. Yes. Yeah, Onetra. Yeah, දුව පොඩි වැරද්දක් තියෙනවා. බලන්න කොතනද වරදින්නේ කියලා. Right? Okay, now here I'm going to do the coding. And people, if do you need more time to do the coding? Is there anyone who need more time to do the coding? Just let me know if there is anyone. Okay, right. So moving forward. Right. Onetra duwage වැරද්ද වෙලා තිබෙනවා. Now I can modify the same program, right? So I'm not going to change anything here. So in the very same way, you have to start from the program keyword. Some name should be given. Input output should be there. Variables should be defined. So in this case, in this question, we have to find both total and the average. So average is a place, or when we are calculating the average, our average can be a floating point value or can be a integer value. So since it can contain just a single floating point value, at least just one single floating point value, we go with the data type real. මොකද එහෙම අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා කියන්නේ if that occurs, there should be a way to catch it. එතකොට අපි average කියන එක්කෙනාවත් මේ list එකටම දැම්මොත් total එක ගාව මම කමා එකක් දාලා if I say avg, so avg is defined as a integeral variable or like integer type variable. So that particular cup in the memory or that particular space in the memory has the ability to catch the integers. That's all. It doesn't have the ability to catch the what we call the floating point values, right? So for that case, we are not going to define average over here. We are going to take to the next line and we say avg colon equal real. Right, so instead of avg you can write average or like some meaningful word. Like no meaningful word will not reduce the marks, but it's better you do it with the sense, right? So it is very clear for the person who is correcting it, right? So in the very same way, on either this is the place where you have went wrong. So we have to take two numbers from the user. User again numbers දෙක අරගෙන තමයි total එකයි AVP එකේ average එකයි. Is it two number or three numbers? Let me see. Three numbers, right? So we have to take three numbers from the user, right? So in that case, this is the message for the user to give the sense. You need to insert a number, then this is the second message. So first number will be catched by num1, second number will be catched by num2. But in this case, we need 3 numbers. So because of that, I need one another of these. So there I'm going to say enter third number, and this is going to be num3. And now I don't have a num3, so I'm going to define it num3, right? And total is equals to num1 plus num2 plus num3, right? And as a good practice, I can calculate, no problem. Binadi, N1, N2, N3 to real. Yes, you can, no problem to her. But like අපිට integer දුන්න කියලා වැරද්දක් නැහැ. Seren, that will be quite difficult, Seren. මොකද අපිට numbers තුනක් එක සැරේ දෙන විදිහක් ලියන්න ගියොත් we need 3 read lns to do, like which I have to check and see. මම දන්න තරමින් එක කරගන්න බෑ. You have to take one and save one, take one and save one on that manner, right? I'll check for it whether they are any way, but it is not in your syllabus, right? Again, so total, we can say add these 3 things together.
So we can take enter 3 numbers and write read ln.
It didn't get you, Minul.
So what Seran asked, you can write ln and enter the 3 numbers, then read ln tries the
variables. Yeah, that's the problem, Minul. Like since we are asking just one question, like Pascal does not have a clue to distinguish, or like have a factor to distinguish that we are giving 3 numbers. අපිට space තිය දුන්නොත් එයා ගණීද කියලා මට sure නෑ. I haven't tried it, right? මම පොඩ්ඩක් try කරලා බලන්න. As per the knowledge I have, I think it will be a difficult, but we'll see whether it's working, right? And average, I'm going to assign with, so we have total already, neither. We got total over here. So I'm going to say divide total by 3, right? That's going to be my average. So then I'm going to write ln total is, then show the totals value. So I'm writing the total variable right over there. And for the average, I'm going to say average is then the AVG, right? Hari, Binadi, වැරදිච්ච තැන තේරුණාද? Did you got where you have went wrong? Not the Binadi. I'm sorry, Onetra. I'm sorry, Binadi. I'm sorry. Right. Onetra, you got it, right? Okay. So I'm going to run this now. So here we go. So it's asking for the first number. I'm giving 10. And the second number, I give 20. And third number, I give 30. So we know the total should be 60. 10 plus 20 plus 30. And average is going to be 60 divided by 3. That means 20.00. There should be, it will show you a range of zeros. Oh my God. What's happened here? Sorry, I couldn't close the previous screen. That may be the cause. Right, let me run it again. So 10, 20, 30. Yes, total is 60. Average is 2.0000 something. Right? So hold on. It shouldn't be 2.0, it should be 20.0. That is a problem. Oh, total divided by 3. මෙතන මේගොල්ලෝ මේ scientific notation එක පෙන්වන නිසාද කියලා මම කල්පනා කරන්නේ. Let's go with some other values. Like let's say 5, 10, and 20. Yes. So it's 35. Yes. So they show the average in a scientific manner. So like for yeah, so 35, the average should be 11 point something. So yeah, so here they said 1.16. This plus 001 means into 10 to the power 1. E plus 001 indicates 10 to the power 1, right? So yeah, it is happening on that manner with the scientific notation, right? A point එක තේරුම් ගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ඇත්තට මෙන්න 11.6 කියලා අපිට ඒක round කරගන්න පුළුවන් ක්‍රමات ඇති මේකේ, right? But we are not going for those things, right? So here they are showing it according to the scientific notation. 1.166666, that is going to be the value, and this E plus 001 says 10 to the power 1, right? Okay, so that's how the second one is going to be the program. So it's better you copy it down and do any if you got any
can you put integer near average and symbol?
Integer near average, you mean like the casting type of a one, or like
no, like assign average as an integer
here as an integer.
Yes.
අපි පොඩ්ඩක් try කරමු. I'll change it. We'll run it and see. What is this? Incompatible types got extended expected small int. It's in 12th line. Yeah. Oh yes. Seren, it is giving us an error because now when total is divided by this operator, divide operator, try to give you an output with an with the floating point one, right? So the extended කියලා ඒගොල්ලෝ indicate කරලා තියෙන්නේ the same thing අර scientific notation එකේ විදිහට දෙනවා. So when we are using the divide operator, they expect to have something real, like something floating. So අපි average එක integer කියලා දැම්මම they are giving us an error, right? Incompatible types, right? And when it comes to the advanced programming, there is something called casting, right? Casting means you can convert the particular value into a format that you want, right? So with the casting, this would help, but it is not in your syllabus. I'll see how the casting is done, right? So if we change it to the integer, that's going to be a problem. So with real, it will run without a problem. Right? Okay, people, if you got anything to get corrected, I'll give you 2 minutes. Then I'm going to go for the next example. Let me check the next example first, whether it is a selection or not. Yeah, it's regarding the selection. Yeah. So please copy this down, then we can talk about the selection. Yeah, Minol, in your program, you don't need two reader lens. One will be sufficient for that, right? Others are perfect. And yeah, in the total, it should be colon equal, Minol, not just the colon. Okay, is there anyone still writing or copying it? Otherwise, we can move to the next structure, which is the if structure. Okay, let's move forward. Right, so we are going to talk about the selection. So the same selection where we find as if in pseudocode. If pseudocode එකේ තියෙන if එක අපි කොහොමද Pascal වලට හරව ගන්න කියන එක. Right? So which is very easy, right? So all we have to do is just write the if as we write it in the pseudocode, but here the end if kind of things are not there, right? The pseudocode එකේ අපිට condition එක then keyword, so this is a pseudocode, the condition and the then keyword, then what to be done, then at the end of the structure we say end if. But when it comes to the Pascal, you will be having your condition and you will see what to be done, and then you don't have anything called end ifs. But what if එකේ එක line එකකට වඩා හම්බෙනවා නම් if structure එක ඇතුලේ if you need to execute more than one particular line, there is another special way of writing it. It's not something very special. Only thing is we use a separate start and end inside the if block to indicate more than one particular line, right? Or the one particular statement. Then මෙහෙම එක statement එකයි නම් තියෙන්නේ අපිට උවමනා නැහැ වෙනමම එයාව manage කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ වෙනමම block එකක් කියලා පෙන්නන්න. මොකද if condition එකට පස්සේ immediately තියෙන line එක if ගේ කියලා consider කරනවා Pascal. But sometimes you are facing with the situations like due to the condition you have to do like several stuff, right? So once the program happens on that manner, that several instructions, the set of instructions should be set up inside the what you call begin and end couple, right? It's not the begin and end that we use at the very beginning and at the very end. එහෙම තු මෙයා ඇතුළෙම කියන්නේ if එක ඇතුළෙම හැදෙන තව group එකක්, right? So let me do the first example for you, right? So where is this? It's here. Now the question was, draw a flowchart to display positive for given positive number or negative for given negative number. Assume user will not input 0, right, as a value, right? So flowchart is this, right? We start, we ask for a number and we compare it. If it is larger than 0, it displays positive, otherwise it displays negative. Anyway, at the end it's going to end, right? So in the pseudocode we talk about if keyword is there, and condition will be there, and then keyword will be there. I'm sorry. Right. So in pseudocodes, we know if keyword should be there and the condition should be there, then keyword should be there. Statements when the condition is true, else statements when the condition is false. Then we do the end if thing, right? But in Pascal, we are not going to do the end if part. Again, end if කියලා වචන ලියවෙන්නේ. That's the only difference, right? So I'm going to yeah, let me save this. Right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how the if works. Now, the requirement is you take one number from the user, right? So I'm getting rid of all other three, right? Num1, it's an integer. And then, like, once you take the num1, then what you are going to do is you check for it whether it is a positive or a negative. And we assume that zeros are not given. So we need the first right ln, and I can change it, enter a number, and I don't need these two, right? And I don't need these three as well, right? And I'm sorry, we don't need the entire total thing, right? So you ask for a number, then they will enter a number. Then what we are going to do is we are going to use the if condition. Then we say if num1 larger than 0, then, right, then what we have to do is if the if condition is correct, which is num1 is larger than 0, we are going to show a positive number. So then we are going to write an instruction to show on the monitor. So I use write ln positive number. And if it is negative, that means either 0 or negative, then else part will be there. Right? So in else, we have to say negative number. Right? And there is no end ifs, right? Read ln will be there. Saran, I didn't get you how to end in else again, like a program ending happens here, Buddha. Indicating from this, it will show you how it is. Sharon, did you got that? If it is not positive, Sharon, so negative number will get print, right? And it will end. That's what happens.
Sir, can we end the program without displaying negative number?
Yeah, no problem. So like if you are given a positive number, then you will see the positive number thing. If it is not a positive, then the program straight away ends because you don't have an else part, right? That doesn't matter. Got it, Sharon?
Okay, sir.
Right. So I'm going to run this.
So nothing happens if we put two real elements, right?
Nothing happens. No,
If
nothing
you
happens.
put
Nothing happens. Yeah, no change has happened, but one read element is sufficient, right? So, oh, I can't make it. Right, enter a number. I'm entering 35, and it says it is a positive number. And if I run it, and if I say minus 24, it says negative number, and it is O. So in according to the like what we call the according to the condition, right? It decides what to be shown, positive or negative, right? And according to the question, we assume no one is inputting zero. මොකද zero input කරොත් මෙතන zero input කරොත් ඔයාට මොකක්ද දෙන උත්තරේ? In case if someone inputs zero, what will be the output regarding this program? Yes, anyone? Yes, Minul, it's going to be negative because it is not larger than zero. Zero is not larger than zero. It's equals. So that means num1 larger than zero condition is false. So you goes for the else, right? So this is the way it's going to be, right? So people just try the third one, and I want you to try question 3 as well. So once you're done with this, go for the third example. I'll put the example after a little while. I'm going to discuss it by 4 o'clock, right? So see whether you can like pass the challenge.
So in the exam, why don't they give us to write a Pascal code?
Come again, Minu.
So in the exam, why don't they give us to write a Pascal program?
Oh, it's like this. Like for your level, they assumes like the generating an algorithm will consume more time. So and some fields it is hard, and so they are just go for the place where everyone can achieve that. Everyone means like it's not that simple, but they have gone for that instead, right? As I see, there is no problem to have to write a Pascal code, but still they are going on that particular pattern, right? But I'm switching to the question. Q3 is here, so I'm going to do it by 4 o'clock, right? So the question is to output a 0 if the input value is 0. Otherwise, it will output not a 0. That means for a positive as well as a negative. Yeah, Onetra, I received yours. Let me see. Yeah, Onetra, it's almost perfect. And there is a mistake or a syntax error in the place that you are defining the variable name. You take number space 1. You can't have number space 1 though. Space is an illegal character when it comes to the Pascal identifiers. So either you have to write number 1 together or number underscore 1, right? Then later in the condition, when you are comparing, you have to compare number 1 because you said the given value should be caught by number 1, the variable called number 1, right? Right. Yeah. Is there anyone still writing the code? Otherwise, we can move to the coding part. All right. So I'm moving to the coding part. So I'm using the same program. So in the very same way, program, some name, input output should be there, and I'm introducing just num1 as an integer, right? So after the begin, I'm asking for a number. So then I'm reading that number to the num1 variable. Then the condition, I should ask now, the requirement of the program is recognize whether the given number is a 0 or not a 0. So condition is going to be num1 equals 0, right? So then I'm going to say this is a 0, right? So you can change the string as you want. Yes, Petme, it's www.starlabs.com. I'm sending it to you now. Right, so if it is equals to 0, we have to say this is a 0 on the monitor. Otherwise, we have to say this is not a 0. Right, so it ends. So we run it, enter a number. When we give 10, it says this is not a 0. And if I run it, when we get a minus value, minus 23, again it says it's not a 0. And when I run it and produce 0, then it says this is a 0. Right, so same happens. Okay,
So if
so
you could read, it's more nice.
didn't get. If you got
Yeah, like after ITLN, enter number, if you could read instead of read LN, it looks more nice.
it if we use
It
read,
looks
what will
more
happen,
better.
you know?
It looks more better, like it's coming straight.
Yeah, it's more better, but the problem is, you know, like me, it will affect on the printing, I guess. Right? Let's save it and run. So I enter 0, and when I yeah, no problem. And there is like it's like there is no better things regarding like between read ln and read you know, both do the same thing. The only thing is the cursor moving, right? So you can either use read or read ln, that doesn't matter. Right, so that is how the that particular question been answered, right? Then what is there in the flow chart? There is another one. Yeah, even number or odd number. Here it's only the even number to determine whether the number is even number or not, right? So remember, in no path they don't have anything, right? Remember that. Okay, try to write the coding. So it's 4.5. I'm going to do it by 4.10. Onetra, the word, did you learn the mistakes which you have done previously? Right, great. Yes, people, how's the situation?
Can we use operators?
Minul?
So can we use operators?
Yeah, definitely. You can use any of the operators, no problem. Because this is Pascal. So you can use all the eligible operators in the Pascal. That doesn't matter. Right. Can we do this? Are there anyone still completing it? All right. Let's jump to it. So what we are going to do is we are asking for a number and we are trying to determine whether it is a positive, the even number or an odd number. If it is even, we just show the even number word. Otherwise, program just ends, right? So I'm using the same program. So program keyword, some name according to the rules, input comma output within the brackets, semicolon, then variable declaration, num1, I'm taking an integer. So then begin, asking for a number, write ln, enter a number, that is the message for the user. And I'm going to read it as num1. Now I need to check whether this num1 is a even or not. So there are two ways of doing this, right? Like the nice way of doing this is like this. You can take something called remainder, and I'm going to take num1, then I'm taking the modulus 2, right? So I have to introduce a variable called rem as an integer, right? Because I can easily take an integer because remainder is always going to be an integer. It's not going to be a floating point one, right? So then I'm checking whether the remainder is equals to 0 or not. If the remainder is 0, that means the number is divided by 2 and nothing is left as a remainder. So then I can say this is an even number. Right? Now, in the question, they are not saying to do anything due to the what you call due to the else part. Like if the condition is false, they are not asking us to do anything. So they just need to figure out whether it is only an even number. If it is an even number, we are going to show it. Otherwise, we just take it out. Yeah, Saran, mod is a, do you remember mod is a mathematical operator? Do you remember the mod? I'll show you the mod. So why? See, this is the mod.
Yeah,
See?
yeah,
Suzu, you can't shout.
yeah.
So see, when 20 mod 6 will give you 2. So 20 is divided by 6 and the remaining part. Mod E stands for modulus. Modulus means the remaining. Right? So why I choose 2 to do the mod? Because to figure out whether it is a positive or whether it is an even or odd, what we are doing is we are going to divide the number by 2 and look for the remaining part. How many or how much is remaining. So if it is a 0, we say it's an even number. If it is not a 0, we say it is a odd number. Saran, did you got that? It will break. Okay, so then I'm going to run this. Oh, yeah. Yes, Saran, we do. So I'm doing the adjustment here. Right, I missed some semicolons or like the line terminators. There should be a line terminator as well. Yeah, so now it is okay. Yes, we don't need the else word on it because we don't need to worry about the else in this question, regarding this question, right? Because they are just asking us to show even number word only if it is even. That's all. Otherwise,
So
they
can
have
we
to
put else and then put reader?
If we are going to put the else, I think we are going to face up with a problem. Let me see. Just else. No, just else won't do. See, they're saying it's code.pass. Fatal error, syntax error, colon expected but else found. Semicolon expected but else found. So if you write in something, like if you're writing else, you have to write something with the else. There should be some statement for else. like ඊළඟ example එකට ඕක ඕනේ නේද? ඊළඟ එකේ තියෙන්නේ odd and even දෙකම පෙන්වන්න කියලානේ. ඔව් ඒ odd and even නෙවෙයි ඒකේ තියෙන divisible by 3 කියන එක පෙන්න ගන්නනේ. Right? You may need that. Okay, so I'm going to run the program by taking out else. So here we go. So I'm running it. Enter a number. If I put 10, I'm sorry, this is not a 0. Why is that? Run yes. I'm sorry, I'm going to close all the outputs and run it again. All right, here we go. Yeah, Given 10, oh yeah, it goes. And it goes, why is that? This is an even number. And if I run it and give 5, it's not an even number. So nothing happens, right? It just close the program, right? So that is how the second one may read element dekak mama දැම්මේ එක hold වෙලා හිටපු නැති නිසා let me check with the one single read element should work. නෑ ඒක මොකක් හෝ හේතුවක් මත දෙන්නම වුවමනා කරනවා. I'll check it and see. But anyway, when you are writing things to the examination, you don't need to write these read elements. You only need to write the correct code without the read elements, right? ඒ කියන්නේ මේ screen එක hold කරනවට අපි පාවිච්චි කරන read element දාන්න නැතුව ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Right? No worries. Right. So people
Just
who
put
have not
read and-
yes Minul.
So that means you can just put read for the exam.
Yes. No problem. Right. So people who have not completed this, just copy it down and see where you have gone wrong. And people who have done it, go for the next example, right? Which is the final example of the if, I guess. Do we have more? There are more things like the else if and nested if. අපි ඒක එතනට ආවම කතා කරමු, right? So meanwhile, correct this thing up and write the other one. I'm going to write the code by 426.
So can we put the semicolon after then?
Semicolon after what?
Then
No. මට එක දෙයක් තිබුණා ඔයගලන්ට ඒක පෙන්වන්න බැරි වෙච්ච. හරි ඕක ලියා ගන්නකො මම ඊට පස්සේ පෙන්නන්නම්. Vihansa says she can't see the screen clearly. Is it same for the others? Yes, others, can you respond? Is it not clear for you? Is it same for the all? Oh no, yeah. Vihansa, I think it's better. I think the problem lies with your side too. So just try logging out and like try disconnecting and reconnect. Yeah, Saran, the question comes like this. Yeah, the Q5 divide by 3, not divisible by 3, not divisible by 3. That's the one.
So what's the difference between a simple program and a program?
Come again, Minul?
What's the difference between a simple program and a program?
Simple program and a program.
Like in Pascal, when you like want to make a program, there are like two in the IDE.
No, hold on. Like there is nothing called simple program and a program. Everything are programs. Like that particular program will get simple when you are having less amount of instruction in it. You know, like everything falls under the category which we call programs, right? එක line එකක් තිබ්බත් it is a program. Like a program will become a simple one when it is having less amount of instruction to be executed. The මේ අපි කරන ඒවා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට simple programs පැත්තට වැටෙනවා. හැබැයි එහෙම කියලා එක simple program කියලා කොටසකුයි program කියලා කොටසකුයි නෑ. Everything is program, right? Okay, so I'm going to do this.
Also, like in Lazarus, like when you like want to make a new something, then there's some.
Right,
So
right.
you need
Yeah.
to
So
check
like
this out.
it's like this, you know, like it's the what we call the application specific. ඒගොල්ලෝ define කරගෙන තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ඔය සමහර ලාවට Java programs හදනකොටත් අපිට එනවා ඒක NetBeans enable program එකක්ද JavaScript enable program එකක්ද ඊළඟට database connectivity enable program එකක්ද එහෙම එනවා. ඒක application specific. කියන්නේ ඒක Java වලට එක විදිහක්, C++ වලට එක විදිහක්, C# වලට එක විදිහක්, Pascal වලට එක විදිහක්. ඔය Lazarus වගේ ඒ වගේ අර එක multi platform එකක්නේ. ඒකේ ගොඩක් ඒවට support කරනවානේ. ඒ වගේ තැනක එක විදිහක්. So there can be differences. එහෙම වුණොත් ඒක අපිට application wise හොයලා බලන්න වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ Lazarus නම් Lazarus මොකක්ද මේ simple program කියලා කියන්නේ. එයා මොකක්ද advanced program එකක් හරි like just a program කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? It's not something to do with Pascal. Right? Okay.
Like they
So,
might be limiting the functions.
yeah. Maybe. Functions and procedures තියෙනකොට නැති ඒවා simple program එකක් කියලා හිතන්න පුළුවන්. තියෙන ඒවා just a program කියලා අරගන්නවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Okay, people. So I'm going to use the same program again. So as usual, program, some name, input, output, colon is there. Variable, I'm taking two, num1 and remainder. Both are integer types. So I'm asking for a number. and I'm reading that number to the number one variable, num1 variable. And since our requirement is to see whether this particular number is divisible by 3, or like in other words, we are going to check whether this is a multiplication of a 3 or not. All right. So what we have to do is we have to divide number by 3 and consider the remainder. So for that, I say num1 mod 3. So whatever the number will be divided by 3, and we'll consider the remainder. So if remainder is 0, then we say this is a number. Now, if you have message divisible by 3 කියලා නිකම් පෙන්නන්න කියලා තියෙනවා නේද? This number is divisible by 3. Right, and we have to use the else part as well. And we say this number is not divisible by 3. Excuse me. So it's simple, and once we run this, we will be getting the answer according to the input that we are providing. And yeah, people, now, can you see I have placed the semicolon at this line, that is the that belongs to the true part of the if, as well as the semicolon is there in the else line as well. But they are indicating about an error. Syntax error, semicolon expected, but else found. Right? Then, if I get rid of this semicolon, see, my error is gone. So remember, if and else structure, if එක line එකක් විතරක් එනකොට අර කලින් උදාහරණෙදි වගේ we need to have the semicolon at here, because if ends from here. කලින් example එකේ if එක ඔතනින් ඉවරයි. ඒක නිසා we put a semicolon at that point. But when if is ending after an else, you only need to put the semicolon at the end of that structure. So making ඒගොල්ලෝ තේරුම් ගන්නේ if කියන keyword එක දැක්කම Pascal understands, okay, if condition is going to start, and then after it will search for a semicolon to recognize where's the ending point of the if. එතකොට if keyword එක පටන් ගත්තයින් පස්සේ අපි semicolon එක දාන්නේ if structure එක ඉවර වෙන තැන. Now that is a special point where you have to remember, right? The monkey one, Pascal wala, like we use semicolon like more than 90% of the codes, right? But there are several places where we are not using the semicolon to indicate the line terminate. So when it comes to the structures, remember, you start it from a keyword which is if, and you end it with a semicolon, right, to indicate this is the end. Right? Got it?